Good afternoon, Jeremy. It's been a couple of hours since we've arrived in Giyani, as I suppose we continue to track these municipalities that invested millions into VBS, knowing that it was illegal to do so. Now, what should have been done with that money? This is a sports complex. It's in Section E, which is one of the townships in Giyani. And, well, this is what you have, Jeremy. I'm going to ask Jill just to give you a shot of what they've managed to put up so far. Concrete slabs and fencing, and that's about it. But, of course, millions of rand have already gone into this project as it stands, and at this rate it doesn't look like it's going to be completed. The municipal manager, Maxwell Chauke, joins me now. He was appointed in January, and part of your job was to really calculate the cost of projects such as this. I understand that about 400 million rand had been allocated in total for all the projects, the sports complexes that needed to be built. Is that correct?
Thanks very much. I would like to clarify the issues first. There's no 400 million that has been allocated for all sports complexes. Our 400 million is the total budget roughly of the whole municipality, which covers the salaries and other operational issues. So what I would like to indicate to you is that what you have just indicated is incorrect, yes.
So how much money had been allocated for these sports complex projects? This is, of course, not just in 1 year, but over a number of years.
This is one of the biggest sports centers. The other ones are the sort of medium in terms of the size. They're not that big. On average, the medium or small ones, the budget there runs between, say, less than 10 million on each. And this one, the allocation for the budget for this one, it was around, say, 30 million in terms of the phases that were budgeted for in terms of the construction, including professional fees. So this is just but a first phase of what you are seeing now.
So how much money has been spent on this particular stadium?
The money that has been spent in this particular stadium, it's roughly 29 million.
Okay, so Jeremy, in effect, what he's saying is that this is what 29 million has gotten this municipality so far. That's money that's already been paid to the contractors. This is what it's done. A little later, Jill will show you exactly what the rest of the grounds here actually look like. I don't know, Jill, perhaps you can continue with the rest of what the stadium looks like as we get into this interview. What was part of your priority areas when you took office earlier this year?
One of my priority areas when I took over the office, firstly, within my rights as an accounting officer, one of my duties is to ensure that the public funds are spent properly and in a manner that it's aligned to our IDP and the budget that has been approved by council. Two is to ensure that our focus goes to basic service delivery, which as well include roads and stormwater and some other services that we're providing as a municipality, including the refuse removal. So my point of departure was to analyze all the plans that the municipality has over the period of 5 years, check the available budget that we have to spend on those projects, and apportion the budget appropriately in such a way that where we are unable to spend the money and finish those projects in 1 year, we do them in phases as multi-year projects, which one of those multi-year projects is where we're standing now. So now the focus was to more look at the financial viability of the municipality. Two was to look at the good governance part of the municipality, organizational transformation, which includes our staff complement, and also our local economic development within the greater Giyani municipality.
So when you look at the projects, it's the sports complexes, it's the roads that needed to be upgraded in some areas. You also have the civic center, which is a 64 million rand has already been put into that civic center, but as it stands, it's still not complete. Part of that building seemingly remains abandoned. We were there earlier this morning. So when you're sitting with projects such as this, what then becomes your priority?
Maybe I would like also to clarify, and it's good that you're asking. so that at least when you leave this place, you got the real information. Firstly, there's no project that has been abandoned within the institution. There are projects that, according to our plan, we planned to do them in phases. Phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, and according to the budget allocated. So, Civic Center, phase 1 is complete. Now we have advertised, we are about to appoint a contractor to do the other phases. The briefing and other advertisement and other logistics took place this month. And in that fashion, I would like to indicate that for the Civic Center building, the appointment amount for the contractor that did the work, it was roughly around 34 million, excluding professional fees. Currently, the money that was spent on Civic Center is not more than 40 million.
Yeah, but it remains incomplete. So when you say that this is just the first phase of this project, let's speak about the sports center because that's where we are. Are you saying that you're still going to be pouring more money into the stadium in order to get it complete? And how much is going to be the total cost of that?
It's not an issue of pouring more money, but what I would like to indicate is that you're not giving me an opportunity to clarify. I'm saying there's no project that gets abandoned within the institution. What we are doing, we're implementing project in phases. And in phases means that we run a project to a certain level where in the public eye, that a person that does not have background will be seen as a project that is abandoned. But all the projects that are still having some items that needs to be completed, we have planned as a municipality to continue completing them. Coming back to where we are standing now. If you can look around, we have done the palisade facing, we have done the Kumbi courts, we have done the drainage, we have done bridges that will control the stormwater, we have done the huge, massive concrete work that is behind us here, we have done the guardhouse, we're busy with some of the small items that needs to be conducted. We still need to do some final touch-ups, more especially the pitch. We still need to do some final touch-ups in terms of the ablution facilities. We still need to do some touch-ups on the concrete work itself. That on its own, it's something that we have planned as a municipality. Obviously, we cannot say we cannot continue with this project because this is at the center of Section E that will be used to entertain our kids here. Now, we cannot start something and then at a later stage we say we cannot proceed with that. We're going to proceed with this project. This project is still on, although the activities might not be visible here, but the planning part in terms of making sure that the other activities gets completed, it's underway. For all the projects that you're not seeing people moving up and down with plant are not abandoned projects. Those are the projects that we're implementing in phases.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, Municipal Manager, so that's why I'm going to have to leave it for this afternoon. Jeremy, there you have it. Back to you in studio.
Cathy, very quickly, I just need some clarity. Maybe as I get older, I'm just getting very dense or my eyesight is starting to fail me. But what I'm hearing is that the structure behind you, those concrete bleachers, plus drainage, a guardhouse, palisade fencing, so far, if I heard you correctly, 29 million rand has been spent on that. Is the implication, and I know that you battled to get the information from Mr. Chauke, I presume more money is going to be spent before children of Giyani can actually use this facility. And of course, we don't know when the second phase will even begin.
Absolutely, and I think that's what Mr. Chauke was saying to us earlier, Jeremy, that certainly they're going to implement more phases of this project as they go along, and one can only imagine how much the final bill for a project such as this is going to be. And of course, you know, part of the issues that have been raised, at least from some of the other sectors of the community here, is that these projects have been brought to a halt because of that money that, of course, had been lost in VBS. Unfortunately, we didn't get to all of that with the municipal manager because we seem to, you know, just get lost in the actual in the actual figures. But certainly more money is going to come into projects such as this one, and he's rather defensive about it in terms of what they're still going to do. The interview didn't quite go in the direction that I had anticipated, Jeremy.
But I think in many ways, Cathy, it did, because I think it lays bare just the extent of the problem and how communities are suffering as a result of this. Very quickly, and you don't have to answer this if you can't, but again, I'm utterly fascinated by this concrete grandstand behind you. I know that you and I are not structural engineers, we're in the business of news, but have you had an opportunity to look at that grandstand? Because as I'm looking at it now on the big wall in front of me, I'm seeing weeds growing in front of it. I mean, is this in a state of disrepair, or at some point do you think this could be used?
No, it's not a state of disrepair, Jeremy. Perhaps even if I could, I'm going to ask Joel just to turn the camera around. Joel, please just work with me here. So if you can just turn the camera around and pan all the way around, just so that we can give Jeremy a good look of what the sports complex is. Keep that 29 million rand in mind, Jeremy, as you look at these visuals.
And Cathy, while we're looking at this, and again, this is an illustration of what 29 million rand buys you right now, and I'm seeing trees, I'm seeing grass, and I'm seeing a lot of builders' rubble. Have you had an opportunity to talk to the community about this particular complex? There must be a degree of expectation. A soccer field in a community where parents can go and watch is a good thing. What are they saying to you?
Absolutely, Jeremy, and we're going to try and bring you more of those voices later, but already we've heard some of the complaints, because right now it is mostly an abandoned structure. We've been told that a lot of crime actually happens here. Young people are using it as a hideout, especially those that are up to no good in this community, and certainly we will have community members who I think will be able to speak for themselves in terms of what happens as the structure lies as it is right now in this community. And I think the municipal manager is correct in saying that this stadium needs to be completed, but certainly I think that the price tag will raise quite an eye. But also, the real issue was about the stalling of projects as a result of that money that was invested into VBS. So hopefully we'll be able to get clarity on just other projects that have been brought to a complete standstill while the municipality tries to, as you heard there, work its way around the financial difficulties that, of course, to a large extent had been self-created by those who came in before him and who invested money into a mutual bank that they knew they should not have been investing into. So, but yeah, Jeremy, this is 29 million rand for you.
And that